Well, we first told you about how May is one of the busiest times, and it's the busiest season for migrating birds, something we see a lot here in Chicago. Well, now, what do you do if you find one of those traveling birds injured? And we find that often in the city because of our big buildings, and sometimes just because they collide into house windows. So joining us now is Annette Prince, the director of the Chicago Bird Collision Monitors. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, Ms. Prince.
Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So how does Chicago, and why does it pose such a threat, as we know, to migrating birds?
Well, Chicago has been ranked infamously as the city in all of North America that poses the greatest risk to migratory birds by virtue of the fact that millions of them have used this path through the middle of North America for thousands of years, long before we ever had buildings here. Those birds are moving up, sometimes in the hundreds of millions. This is last night, 300 million up to 400 million birds were moving from south to north, rushing up to areas where they're trying to start their families and do their breeding season. And we unfortunately have a huge amount of artificial lighting and a lot of buildings with glass, and that combination of birds traveling through this area and the hazardous conditions that we've created can result in a huge number of fatalities. We pick up 7,000 birds a year just in the 1 square mile that we're monitoring, and we know it happens at everyone's home and all along the lakefront. So that's hundreds of thousands of birds that almost made it all the way to where they were going to spend the summer for breeding, and they didn't make it all the way because of some of the obstacles we've put in their way.
Yeah, so we're in that real hot district from what that map shows of, I mean, as
Exactly.
you said, this is thousands of years. This has spanned forever, but we're right in that highway. And out of all those places, it's a lot of kind of desolate land, and then there's this giant city, Chicago. So what does the Chicago Bird Collision Monitors group do for these birds when you guys get calls? Because you do get calls.
Yes, we get calls of reports of birds that people have found, and we also have teams of volunteers that go out every morning during migration, which started back in the middle of March and will go on till early June. These volunteers go out and cover as much of the downtown lakefront area as they can to collect the dead birds for documentation and to pick up the injured birds, because getting them safe and away from being stepped on or grabbed by predators or given a chance to avoid a further cause of harm, we get them taken out to the Willowbrook Wildlife Center, where they can be evaluated and hopefully released. So about 25% of the things we find are injured, and the majority of those get released because of our great volunteers that are out there before the sun rises, looking for these guys they're hurt on the sidewalks and getting them safe so that they've got a second chance to continue on and help protect their species and raise their young for the summer.
Yeah, I see it all the time in the loop. If you see an injured bird, what do you do? What do I do?
Okay. You can call our number, which is 773-988-1867, to let someone know that you've seen the bird. If there's a way for you to secure it, pick it up, get it into a closed bag or a box, and hang on to it so we can connect with you. We can help get that bird out. This is a great picture, or it's not a great picture, but it really shows some of the amazing birds. We find over 200 species of birds in downtown Chicago. They don't live here. They're just traveling through. They're tourists in our city, and we're trying to give them safer passages. We are trying to get an ordinance implemented in Chicago that would say that new buildings have to have bird-friendly glass and designs, such that more of these birds have safer passages through. But again, calling us if you see an injured bird, putting it into a bag or box, or at least moving it to a safe planter or a location where it's less likely to be harmed while help is on the way, is the best thing to do when you see these amazing birds that are coming through. And people will be seeing them all the way through into early June.
Yeah, it really is beautiful and miraculous how many different kinds of birds we're seeing. Annette Prince, we appreciate your work. Thank you for joining us on the stream. All that information she just spoke of, how to contact them, how to get involved, is on our website. Annette Prince, the director of the Chicago Bird Collision Monitors, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.